88 won the Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to what should be another great night of action for your Central Washington University Wildcats. Folks, for tonight and for the remainder of winter break, Ryan Gildersleeve, your broadcaster, on hand. Folks, it'll be just me the rest of the break, so if you do, in fact, get a little bit bored of hearing my voice, I apologize because you don't have many other options. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, a great few games that we've got on the schedule for the Cats coming up over this next about week and a half, really. You're not going to get much extended into that Christmas time or a whole lot after that. But, of course, we do have 3 matchups from today moving forward till January. So before you round out your year, you've got some Wildcat basketball to get in. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's matchup is between your Central Washington Wildcats and the Evergreen State Gooey Ducks. Folks, it's going to be a very interesting matchup here tonight as, of course, the Gooey Ducks not playing in the same conference, if you will, as the Wildcats. The Wildcats, of course, operate in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference. You can't say the same about the opposition for today. Now, taking a little bit of a scouting look into the Gooey Ducks so far on the season, this is a team that we're kind of familiar with here at the Pavilion as we welcome them in just about every year now. I can at least thoroughly remember our matchup with them last year. Now, that being said, ladies and gentlemen, they are having a year for themselves. 1 for 5 so far in total play, 1 for 2 in conference play. Coming off their 1 win of the season so far, as last week they were able to defeat the Northwest University Eagles. That's right. It has been a tumultuous season, if you will, for the Gooey Ducks. But they come in tonight to the Nicholson Pavilion hoping to maybe put a stain on the Wildcats' record. Of course, your Wildcats 6-3 so far on the year, 2-0 in the conference. So that GNAC standing not so much up for grabs, but they could come for the record overall. Now, looking into the Gooey Ducks, they have faced a couple of other teams in similar rankings to your Wildcats. They've faced off with Portland State and, of course, the University of Idaho. Now, in those matchups, they have been outscored 232 to 142. That's right, a 90-point differential between those teams that play in a similar range as your Wildcats against the Gooey Ducks so far this year. So that might just give you a little bit of a basis of what to expect here tonight, but don't discount the Gooey Ducks. They face off next Wednesday with Seattle Pacific, and so they're really looking to try to rile up the team, rile up the boys, and get everybody ready for what could be a very interesting week of basketball between these two squads. Now, of course, we do have some names for you to watch for both of these two teams. Your Wildcats, of course, last week, they come in on Saturday, exactly a week ago today, and they face off with Western Washington. That was a great matchup for both of those two teams. Your Wildcats end up squeaking out a win by 3 points, and hey, let me tell you, that was a matchup you just had to be there to see. Everybody was excited. The feel in the Pavilion was through the roof, and so just something that you gotta see for yourself. If you've never attended a game in the Pavilion, it's really something. Now, as I previously mentioned, a few names to watch for both of these two teams. You're going to see the Evergreen State Gooey Ducks roll out a few different players, but none more notable than Jordan Joseph. Folks, Jordan Joseph has averaged 14, 4, and 2 on the season so far, that being 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 assists. So doing a good job of filling the stat sheet for the Gooey Ducks, also putting a steal alongside his totals. In their last game, though, 24, 4, and 1, the statistical breakdown for Jordan Joseph, also finishing with a block and a pair of steals. So somebody to watch for your Wildcats as we move forward. Now, folks, with that being said, as you take a look towards the court, you'll see both of these two teams getting ready for what will be our pre-game national anthem and such. And so with that, we will send you off to a break, but we'll be back in just a little while here on 88.1 The Berg and your CW Athletics live stream as we get ready to walk you through all of the action tonight. 88.1 The Berg, your Music Central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, not so much time to waste here tonight from the pavilions as we cut in the middle of an ad there. But one way or another, I thank you for being here with me on the broadcast for the night. If you were unable to tune in to the first little bit of our pregame show here, I am Ryan Gildersleeve, your play-by-play and I guess color commentator as well for the following few matchups between your Wildcats and a variety of different opponents that we have coming in for exhibition matchups over the next about a week and a half. Well, folks, if you didn't catch that first little bit of our pregame show, I was walking you through some names to watch for this game. Of course, your Wildcats taking on the Evergreen State Gooey Ducks here tonight, and it's bound to be an interesting matchup one way or another. Folks, we talked about Jordan Joseph. He wears number 1 for the Gooey Ducks, averaging 14, 4, and 2 on the season so far, with a steal to his total as well. Of course, last game he showed out for the Gooey Ducks as they brought home their first win of the season. He put up 24, 4, and 1 in that matchup with a block and a couple of steals to his total. The 6'3 guard is going to be a very interesting name to watch for this matchup, as tonight, really, they're going to have an opportunity to lead their team to what could be a very big win for the Evergreen State program. 7-0 are the Wildcats against Evergreen State here in the history of these two schools, and so it's just something to watch. Now, another name for them, Bradley Graham. Bradley Graham, he's been an interesting one to watch, that's for certain. 10, 3, and 2 on the season so far, also with a steal to his total. In that last game, 15, 1, and 3 with a steal. So was really moving the ball around well in that last one in comparison to his season numbers. Now, talk about the last guy for Evergreen State. That's Solomon Campbell. Now, Solomon Campbell runs the 5 spot. That's right, the center position for Evergreen State. You can see him at half court there, getting ready to take the tip. 7, 6, and 1 on the season so far, averaging 2 blocks. So something to keep in mind as you watch this matchup. Might be difficult for the Wildcats in the paint here tonight. But Maverick Sanders is going to go up, win the tip for your Cats. And just like that, we have begun the matchup here at the Nicholson Pavilion between your Wildcats and the Gooey Ducks, as Jordan Clark now going to hand it off to Kevin Holden. Holden now moves it out left, and it finds its way to Maverick Sanders. Sanders back out Brizzy. Brizzy now over to Clark on the right side, and it's back to Kevin Holden. Top of the key, looks like he wanted the 3, didn't take it. Instead, he drives and kicks back out for Anderson. Anderson now over to Sanders. Maverick Sanders had an interesting night for himself in that last matchup. Ended up fouling out without a point scored against Western. He'll put up a 3 here, and he will not be able to knock that one down. Rebound goes to the Gooey Ducks, and it'll be Jordan Joseph bringing it up for the Ducks here tonight. He'll be matched up with Kevin Holden here, who of course has been on a torch path over the last little while, facing off against GNAT competition, but it's going to be the first the first couple of points for Jordan Joseph here on the night. Clark now with it. He's going to bring it back for the Cats. Finds Sanders inside. At least he thought he did, but it gets batted away. Now the Gooey Ducks coming back in transition. This one's tossed up, but it's not going to find its way to the net. Rebound goes to Kevin Holden, who's really had quite the year in terms of rebounding for himself. He's going to flip this one over to Brizzy, and a little bit of star passing, if you will. Now bringing it up are the Gooey Ducks once more specifically Bradley Graham. We talked about him just a moment ago. He'll kick it back out left for Joseph. Joseph, as we mentioned, being guarded by Kevin Holden here, almost had a double team on him for a moment. He's going to kick it out, and a 3-pointer is going to be put up and knocked down by Solomon Campbell. So all 3 of those men that we've talked about so far, seeing the ball in their hands on that drive alone, they will definitely be impactful for the Gooey Ducks tonight as they lead the Wildcats 5-2. Now here's Kevin Holden with it. Looked like he was going to try and use the screen from Brizzy. He loses it for a moment, but keeps it in his possession. Now this one out right to Sanders. Sanders back out Holden. Holden inside for Brizzy. Brizzy, not really a whole lot of place to go. He gets it to Anderson, who attempts to toss it to the corner for Sanders, but it finds its way out of bounds. Just under 18 minutes remain in this first half of action between your Wildcats and the Gooey Ducks. What a season it's been for your Wildcats, folks. We have talked a little bit about what names there are to watch on the other end of this one as the Gooey Ducks take back over with the ball in the hands of Daniel Thomas. Thomas matched up with Anderson here. He'll move out right, use the screen. Now back out left for Campbell. Campbell looks like he wants it for Joseph. He'll get it to him. Now Joseph flipping the pass to the other side of the court, and a 3 is going to be knocked down by Thomas. So the Gooey Ducks really coming out hot here tonight. One thing to keep in mind about this team that you've already seen a couple of times, they will shoot the 3 ball with really no hesitation. This is a team that really loves to live on the perimeter, so the Wildcats going to need to make sure that defense is solid if they want to keep them at bay here tonight. and a foul is going to be called on the court there. A few substitutions for the Wildcats. Not a few substitutions for the Wildcats, a platoon swap for the Wildcats. So now in the game will be Williams. You'll have Sisk. You'll have Kamalu Vargas. You will have, excuse me there, folks. You will also have Jamari Harris as well as Kobe Parlin. So now it's going to be tossed in, and it'll be in the hands of Williams. Williams now moves out right. Takes the screen from Sisk, heads out, back out left with it. This one now to the corner for Parlin. This one is put up and missed. That very same shot is what gave the Wildcats the lead over Western Washington in the late stages of that last game for the Wildcats. As now here's Joseph with the ball in hand. He moves out right with it, being guarded by Jamari Harris. Now moves this one inside, at least intended to. The shot's put up. This one is off. Rebound goes to Kamalu Vargas. Now he's going to move it over, and it'll be Kobe Parlin with it. Parlin matched up with Joseph. Takes the step back, goes up and over for Sisk. Sisk now immediate double team. Can't fight through the pressure, and the rebound goes to the Gooey Ducks. So now here's Jordan Joseph bringing it up for him on that right side. He's being double teamed now, but they'll break it off instantly. Now on the drive, trying to find some separation is Joseph. He'll kick it out to the perimeter, and they'll go back inside. That one to Thomas. Thomas now maneuvering his way back out, and it's Jordan Joseph once more. He is matched up closely with Eli Williams here as he moves out and takes a long three ball. That one's going to fall, and just like that, the Gooey Ducks lead the Wildcats by 9. 11-2 your score. As now this one's going to be passed to the corner, and it'll make its way back out. Parlin with it. He's going to toss inside for Williams. Williams now back for Parlin. Parlin out for Kamalu Vargas. Vargas moves it inside for Williams. Now to Sisk, and you can't stop that man. We haven't seen a whole lot of him this year, but when he gets the ball in his hands, boy, does he know how to throw down. He shows it off right there. Another couple of points for the Cats, now trailing 11-4. Driving in are the Gooey Ducks, trying to get some instant offense, but they're unable to. The fast break dissipates, and just like that, they'll go back to the playbook. Here's Joseph with it, moving out right against Eli Williams. He's going to go inside now. And that one to Bradley, or excuse me, not to Graham, but to Long. Garrett Long takes the scroll out midi, and that one will fall. Just about 5 minutes eclipsed in this first half of action between your Wildcats and the Gooey Ducks, and it is not going well for the Cats, as now Eli Williams tosses it over to Sisk. Sisk working through a whole lot of pressure on the inside. He'll find Kamalu Vargas, who then found Parlin, but nothing to report on there, as now Eli Williams gets a couple men to fly, and he's going to knock one down. A 13-6 your score. The Cats trail it now by 7. Here's Jordan Joseph bringing it up on that left side. Close defense by Eli Williams, trying to find separation. He can't get it that quickly. Now it's going to be handed off to Thomas. Daniel Thomas now working against Xavier Kamalu Vargas. He's going to call for the screen from Solomon Campbell, and he's going to get it. Campbell now working against Calvin Sisk, and he's going to get that one to fall. Of course, that's the man we talked about, 8, 6, and 3 in that last game for the Gooey Ducks. Could be an impact inside if the Wildcats leave him unattended. Kamalu Vargas with it. He's going to drive, get the ball poked out, but they will call the foul. So just like that, it'll be the second called against Evergreen State here tonight. And just like that, they'll take a timeout. So we'll take 1-2. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. .1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Folks, we're going to bring it back for a second as we get into what's going on for your Wildcats here tonight. Folks, a few names to watch, and if you take a peek at the stat sheet, they're going to be very familiar, as I've got 3 names that everybody should know. If you've seen a matchup between your Wildcats and any one of our opponents so far this year, Kevin Holden, Garrett Anderson, and Jordan Clark. They've been a big 3 of sorts for your Wildcats. Of course, Holden and Clark operating as a dangerous backcourt for the Wildcats, both of them with immense scoring capabilities. In that last game against Western, we saw Kevin Holden drop 29 points. Jordan Clark added 20 of his own. 2 guys that really know how to maneuver that beyond the perimeter area. If you leave it if you leave either one of them open from three-point range, you're going to get burned. So they will definitely intend on showing that off tonight as Mitch Brizzi pitches it out to the corner for Sanders. Sanders on the drive. He's going to put one up, and he's going to get that one to fall. So a couple of points to Maverick Sanders there as he cuts the lead down to 9. Now bringing the ball up for the Gooey Ducks is Graham. He'll move out right, use the screen from Campbell. Being guarded by Mitch Brizzi here. That's an interesting switch, and he's going to use it. Now pitching out to the outside. A 3 ball's put up, and a 3 ball is just barely missed by Garrett Long. Now Jordan Clark, ball in hand on the drive. He's going to pitch it to the corner. Sanders for 3. That one is up and off. Rebound will go to the Gooey Ducks, and here is Jordan Joseph. Takes a step back, and he will live on the perimeter for at least a moment here. Matched up with Kevin Holden, of course, a notoriously tough defender. He's going to make a pass. That one's put up, and that one is knocked down. A very quick 2 for Zach Jefferson. The Gooey Ducks doing a great job shooting the ball here tonight. Not a lot of inside scoring. Might be something for the Wildcats to keep in mind as they look to find some separation here as Garrett Anderson loses it for a second, but stays on his feet, unable to get the lefty lay to go. And just like that, once again, it's the Gooey Ducks coming back down the line. Jordan Joseph shakes Clark, puts up the layup. That one is off. Rebound goes to Kevin Holden. Holden has been very good on the offensive and defensive boards for the Wildcats so far this year, specifically for a guard, as now he'll have the ball on the perimeter, drives in, takes a step back for a moment. Now on the spin, trying to find separation. He'll create it, and he'll knock a shot down. 10-17 now your score. They cut the separation to 7. And now is Bradley Graham matched up with Clark. He's going to head out left, use the faux screen from Long. Now he'll pitch it out for Solomon Campbell. Campbell now inside, and it's Long once more. He'll put up the layup. This one is off. Rebounded by the Cats, and here they come. Jordan Clark crossing over that big old half-court logo of the Wildcats. He'll stop and pitch it over to Kevin Holden. Holden looked like he wanted the shot, doesn't take it. Instead, on the drive, some creative moves, and he's not able to complete it. Very good job of getting inside, just unable to convert on that one. He'll get a hand on the ball here and knock it out of bounds. And they're going to go ahead and make a couple of substitutions here. Not the happiest is a couple of the Gooey Duck players, but one way or another. And it will be number 24, Zach Jefferson, the inbounder for the Gooey Ducks on the other end. He gets ready now, and he'll pitch it in pretty quickly here to number 44, Corey Bridges. Bridges now is going to get right back to Jefferson. Jefferson pitches out right. Now for Graham. Graham puts up the shot. That one is off. Rebound goes to Kevin Holden once again. Holden had 3 rebounds in the last game. I'm pretty sure he just tallied that right now in this one. As Mitch Brizzi with the ball in hand, he's going to work his way inside, pitch it to the outside. Kevin Holden with it. On the drive, back out Clark for 3. Knocks it down. And you just cannot leave that man open from behind the arc. Jordan Clark, 12-2-2 on the season so far. And those numbers are only rising with every appearance that he's had for the Cats so far this season. Corey Bridges now with it for the Gooey Ducks on the drive against Anderson, and he's blocked. All ball. And Garrett Anderson showing off on the defensive end. He goes up, wanted the slam. He's unable to convert after some good defense is thrown up by Zach Jefferson, but the whistles will blow, so not quite clean defense on that one. And they are going to go ahead and call for a timeout. We're going to keep it right here, though, folks, as we talk a little bit more about what this matchup is going to bring for both of these two squads. Folks, of course, more evenly contested as it was throughout that first break as we come into this one. 13-17 your scores. The Wildcats trail it by 4. Now, let's talk about what the Gooey Ducks need to do in order to win this game, because we've already seen a little bit of it. They need to keep shooting the ball confidently. And not only that, but they need to be shooting from behind the arc. We've seen a few misses here tonight, but that's not going to stop the Gooey Ducks. This is a team that really, really needs their outside scoring and their shooting prowess to come through if they want to come home with a win tonight. Not only that, but let's talk about the perimeter a little bit more. Shooting threes, that's great. How about defending threes? We've already seen one from Jordan Clark so far, but this is a Wildcat team that's a little bit more notorious than that from behind the arc. 35% they average, and really what can you take away from the Wildcats on the perimeter? I mean, they've got options everywhere so far this year, as they've been able to show Mitch Brizzi sort of coming into his own as an inside scorer. And, you know, I mean, if the opportunity isn't there from the perimeter, the Wildcats getting better at moving the ball around. But let's talk about that for a second. This is a Wildcat team that if you watch every one of their matchups so far this year, one thing that you've seen begin to get better is the ability for this team to just look for the next open man, as Garrett Anderson's going to knock down the first of 2 free throws. Now, you got to be able to find the open man. If the ball is going to stop with you somewhere, and it typically does for the Wildcats either in the corners or at another location along the perimeter, then you have to have the confidence that you can shake somebody without taking a dribble. If you're not going to be able to shake someone without taking the dribble, and you're not going to be able to pass it out to another man on the perimeter, what you're doing is stopping your offense just right then and there. So I think if the Wildcats are able to have a bit better a passing mind tonight, then this should be a very handed matchup for the Cats, if you will. As now on the other end, it's Jordan Joseph of the Gooey Ducks with the ball in hand, working against Kevin Holden. He drives, and they're going to call for the whistle there as he drives through a few different Wildcats, but this foul is going to be called against Maverick Sanders. So Sanders picks up his first of the night. Of course, he got into a little bit of trouble in that last one, fouling out in the third quarter, or at least what would have been. And so now here are the Gooey Ducks moving it around. It's Jordan Joseph here. Lesson shortly put, the Wildcats just need to make sure that they're paying attention to the foul game here tonight, but maybe another thing to pay attention to there is Corey Bridges knocks down the long-range 3. That is 6'5", 215-pound Corey Bridges that's just hitting down that 3. So easily a stretch 4 if that's the label you want to put on him, as Jordan Clark's going to answer back quickly. Just like that, the Wildcats not taking any step to maybe evaluate that before Jordan Clark just goes ahead and lets it fly. Jordan Joseph now with the ball in hand. He'll bring it up and now driving quickly past Kevin Holden. You saw the hand come in from Sanders, but he wasn't able to pluck it. Now on the drive, and this one's going to be stolen by Clark. Jordan Clark with it, moves it over to Kevin Holden. Holden, back out Clark. Clark wants it again. Can he hit it again? He does! Jordan Clark with his third 3-ball of the night. Give him 9 points so far, and the Wildcats have their first lead at 21-0. Jordan Joseph now. He's going to move out left with this one. He's got Kevin Holden in front of him. Now on the drive, he takes the step back, takes the mid-range, and that one is off. We've seen that shot a couple of times from Jordan Joseph tonight, but he hasn't been able to hit either one of them. The floater not working in his favor, as neither will the 3 on that attempt. This ball's going to find its way out of bounds off of Zach Jefferson, and the Wildcats regain possession. Now the swap on the Gooey Ducks side will be Daniel Thomas coming out for number 3, Tyler No for the Wildcats. Calvin Sisk will come in for Mitch Brizzi, and Eli Williams will come in for Garrett Anderson. So a couple of swaps for both ends of the court here, and it will be the Wildcats bringing it in as Maverick Sanders inbounds to Clark. Jordan Clark coming across that big old half-court logo. He'll be matched up with No as he moves it out right and easily gets the hot potato pass right back to him from Holden. Now Eli Williams back out Clark. Clark for 3 again, and who's going to stop him? 12 points for Jordan Clark so far as he hits his 4th 3-ball of the night. Eli Williams patched up with the ball handler here as they move it out right once more. Gutierrez going to give this one off to Jefferson. Jefferson back out to No. No now using the screen, at least looked like he was going to. Now he drives, he's got a 7-footer in front of him, so he kicks out. Here's the 3, and that's a good, that's a good option for instead of going up against the 7-footer. Instead, just pass it out and let Zach Jefferson nail the 3-ball. He has been something tonight. His 5th point, says Calvin Sisk, going to use that big body to find his way inside, get a couple of points to his total, give him 4 on the night so far. And now here's Jefferson. Jefferson moving out left. He's going to pass this one out, and it's another 3 put up and knocked down by Corey Bridges. What a matchup, folks. 26-26 your score. Bridges hits his second 3-ball of the night. Now here's Sanders. This pass is going to go straight into the bleachers, and just like that, the Gooey Ducks will take back over. So 26-26 your score. We are into what would be the second quarter of action. 8:31 remains as Kevin Holden will check out in the place of Kobe Parlin. Parlin steps in. He'll be joined by Eli Williams in the backcourt, as now it's No bringing it up for the Gooey Ducks. Just under 8.5 as he's going to give it over to Jordan Joseph, who will head out right with it, but a foul is going to be called. This one against Kobe Parlin. And so his first foul of the night. That'll be the second for the Wildcats as opposed to the opposition's 3. And now here is No bringing it up. He'll cross over that half-court line, use the screen from Bridges, and now he'll move it over. Here's Solomon Campbell. He'll take the shot from the mid-range. This one is off. Rebound, though, goes to the Gooey Ducks. So a good job on the offensive boards as they'll keep this one in their possession. Couple of orders being shouted out from both ends here. For the Gooey Ducks, though, we talked a little bit about them shooting the 3 and defending the 3. But what else do they need to do? Well, folks, there's one thing that really jumps off the page to me as Campbell's going to hand it off to Jordan Joseph. They got to have good transition defense. This is a Wildcat team that's going to force a lot of turnovers, and they're going to get a lot of rebounds as Jordan Joseph knocks down the shot, gives the Gooey Ducks a 2-point advantage. But this is a Wildcat team that when they're in transition, they're scoring. And they are trying to take quick shots as there's Jordan Clark knocking down another 3. Jordan Clark's got 5 3-pointers to his total tonight, pretty much single-handedly dragging the Wildcats along here. 29-28 your score as they're going to try and answer back again. This one won't fall for Corey Bridges, though. That's kind of the 3-point contest we've had all night as now Maverick Sanders on the drive. He's going to lose it, but they will call a foul. And just like that, it'll be the 4th on the night against the Gooey Ducks, and there will be a timeout called. So let's talk a little bit more about that perimeter presence that we were going over. Folks, what a matchup it's been so far, and let me tell you, I've got a couple of things that I feel like both of these two teams can do just slightly better in order to get a leg up on their competition. Of course, the Wildcats are coming into this one confident. They're in their home stadium. They're playing against a team that doesn't operate within their same conference, though what they've been able to put on tonight isn't exactly what you'd expect out of the Wildcats. You'd expect a little bit more volume, a little bit stronger a drive, and with that, this is what I feel like the Wildcats need to do. You need to feed the paint. If you're not feeding the paint against a team like Evergreen State, then what are you really doing? Of course, we've seen a couple of shots put up by Calvin Sisk, but I'd like to see more from Brizzy. I'd like to see more from Maverick Sanders, who, of course, in that last matchup did not have a great night for himself. But if you're able to feed him on the inside here tonight, you're able to get him a couple more of those perimeter tries that he's always searching for, then you're going to give him an opportunity to come out here and really reconstruct what that last game was, get a little bit more confidence out of it, and maybe be able to sway this total to the Wildcats' favor a little bit more. But, folks, we are out of the timeout. So 7 minutes, 28 seconds remain in the first half of action. 29-28 your score, but the Cats down by 1. Your current slate for the Wildcats is Eli Williams, Maverick Sanders, Calvin Sisk, Kobe Parlin, and your inbounder here will be Jordan Clark, I believe, though he is blocked from my view by Nick Gutierrez. It is Jordan Clark. He'll go up and over to Sanders. Sanders now driving inside, finds separation, and knocks down the mid-range shot. So we just talked about him a little bit. It's nice to see it working if that's the way that you want to talk about it. 31-28 your scores. Maverick Sanders gets a couple more to his total. Here's No with the ball in hand. He's going to move this one over to Campbell. Campbell now, he's going to hand it off to Graham. Graham matched up with Kobe Parlin. The battle of fives here is now Graham on the drive. He's going to lose it for a moment. It finds its way out of bounds, and the Gooey Ducks will retain possession. So they'll say that one went off the hand of Kobe Parlin. But an interesting matchup, specifically on the inside here tonight. You can kind of see it right there. Calvin Sisk matched up with Solomon Campbell. This one will find its way out of bounds once more, still in possession of the Gooey Ducks. Of course, the starting 5 for your Wildcats being Mitch Brizzy, but over these exhibition matchups, you can expect to see a little bit more of the bench, as what you're really trying to do here is you're trying to form a little bit more cohesive a unit amongst your team by playing some teams that, yes, while they do matter and they're going to have a large stake in confidence, as Solomon Campbell misses that one, and it's rebounded by Eli Williams. He moves this one over to Kobe Parlin. Parlin now on the drive. He's going to kick this one into Calvin Sisk. Sisk has got a wide-open Williams in the corner who will not be able to convert on the three-point try. Rebound goes to Solomon Campbell, and here's No. He moves it over to Graham. Now the Gooey Ducks in transition. What can Graham do? He moves out right towards the top of the key, gets this one over to Solomon Campbell, who has a wide-open 3 but can't convert. And now this one is going to be knocked out of bounds, but not before some excessive contact is going to lead to a foul called against Nick Gutierrez. So the 5th on the night so far for the Gooey Ducks, only 2 to the Wildcats total. And here's Jordan Clark. He's going to give this one over to Eli Williams as now Williams creeps forward past the big ol' half-court logo of them Wildcats. Here's Calvin Sisk. He's going to hand it off for Sanders. Sanders now moving out right. Pitches over to Parlin. Parlin over to the right. Jordan Clark once more. Another three-point try. This one is off. Calvin Sisk, though, just really sunning Solomon Campbell there for a moment there to get that offensive rebound. Unfortunately, the Wildcats can't convert on the second chance try. Here's Graham on the drive. He's going to take the step back, put up the midi, but a hand from Maverick Sanders is going to keep it from going anywhere. Now Calvin Sisk is going to get called for a foul inside. The hand will brush across the shooting hand of Solomon Campbell and lead to a couple of shots for him. The third foul for the Wildcats on the night. 31-28 your score, as now it appears that Calvin Sisk, it will be coming out of the game for Mitch Brizzi. Also checking in for the Wildcats will be Jamari Harris, as well as Garrett Anderson, as the first shot is going to fall for the Gooey Ducks. And so it'll be Sanders, Clark, and Sisk coming out of the game for the Cats. Your current slate will be Williams, Harris, Parlin, Anderson, and Brizzi, as this second one is put up and knocked down. So now that cuts separation down to 1 point for the Gooey Ducks as they look to bring home a win over some big competition, if that's the way that you want to look at it. That is, in fact, the way that I choose to look at it. As here's Garrett Anderson. He's going to move it inside for Williams. Williams now to Parlin. Parlin trying to find separation. He's going to kick it over. Here's Jamari Harris from the corner. He puts that one up and misses. Rebound now is going to go to Mitch Brizzi. Got to love the offensive board as Garrett Anderson follows it up with some fireworks. 3 points from behind the arc. 34-30 your current score. Garrett Anderson's fifth of the night so far. And now here are the Gooey Ducks moving it around the perimeter. Here's No heading out right. He's going to move it to Campbell. Campbell now. He's going to go on the drive. It's knocked out by Jamari Harris, and it's reeled in by Garrett Anderson. Here's Eli Williams on the drive, puts it up, and Jamari Harris will finish it off. Catches the miss midair and puts it back in. 36-30, your Wildcats lead it. Here's Graham moving out right using the screen from Campbell. He's going to be stopped for a second now. This one passed inside. Mid-range is put up, and that one is rebounded by Eli Williams. Williams now up and over to Harris. Jamari Harris puts up a layup, gets it to go, and the and one try is coming his way. That makes it 38-0 Wildcats. A chance to push that up to 9 points, the lead tonight. As Jamari Harris, let's just talk a little bit about what we've seen from him so far this season. Folks, if you're looking for somebody that is exciting on the basketball court, there is no better example than Jamari Harris. He's come in, he's had some really big plays, he's had some big calls. If you check out the social media pages, he's one of those guys that's going to be in there quite a lot. When he gets separation and he's got an open break, he's going to yam on you. And if he's got a wide open shot from the corner, he's going to take it. And most of the time, he's been pretty efficient as he knocks down the free throw there. So definitely a name to watch as this season gets further along. Of course, the Wildcats starting to look a little bit better together on the court every time we see them. They mesh a little bit better every time. As now some great defense being shown off by the Wildcats there. Now with it is Daniel Thomas. Thomas working against Garrett Anderson, and he's going to pass out right. Now here's Long. Long. It looks like he's got to move it over to Campbell, and he does. Now for the inside, they'll see a little bit of a jersey tug by Harris, and the foul will be called. At least that's what you've got to presume on that one. It will, in fact, be Jamari Harris called for the foul. The shot there put up by Jamoy Davis. Of course, it will not count as the whistle was blown beforehand. But 4:16 remain in this first half of action, and a foul is going to be called. This time it appears it'll be against Kobe Parlin. And no, it'll actually be against Mitch Brizzi. So Brizzi picks up the foul there, slightly surprisingly, from at least my view. 39-30 your score. The Wildcats lead it by 9. 4:16 remaining in the first half of action. And we'll see what the Gooey Ducks are able to do with a little drawn-up play here. Now here's the inbound. It's going to make its way inside to Jamoy Davis. Davis now using the screen, moving out left. He's going to pitch this one over to Jefferson. Jefferson takes the three in the face of Williams. That one's not going to make its way in. Rebound goes to Garrett Anderson. Anderson now on the drive over to Jamari Harris. Harris on the drive. He's going to go for a special pass to Mitch Brizzi, and it really wasn't as bad as it could have been. It bounces off his foot, stays in their possession as Garrett Anderson misses a three-point try. Almost a third chance opportunity And a foul is going to be called. It appears, actually, I'm not so sure who they're going to call that one on. It could be Jamari Harris. And it appears as though that's who they're going to call it on. So Jamari Harris, just a little bit too much energy there. He falls to the ground, takes a gooey duck with him. They're going to call a timeout. We'll take one, too. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg and your CW Athletics live stream. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, you are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve, your broadcaster for tonight's action, as your Central Washington Wildcats take on the the Evergreen State Gooey Ducks. That's right, folks, an exhibition matchup between these two squads as the Gooey Ducks look to continue upon their winning ways. They won last week in their first instance of victory on the season. They look to get their second win in that very column here tonight as they face off against the Cats. Though as of right now, not looking so great for the Gooey Ducks. 39-0 your current score as the Cats lead it by 9. Now here's Campbell. He's going to move it over to Long, who takes and misses the three. Now the rebound looks like it's going to go to the Wildcats, but a foul is going to be called. And a little bit confusing is that one, but it appears as though it's going to go against Evergreen State. So the Cats are going to get possession one way or another as Tyler No commits that one. And with that, they enter the bonus. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. And Jamari Harris will have the shots from the charity stripe, if you will. First one's put up and knocked down, so one more will come to him. Of course, in the NCAA D2 level, you do get the 1-and-1 shots on a bonus, or at least once you're in the bonus, that is. Thank you for tuning into this matchup, ladies and gentlemen, whether you may be watching this one to just keep up with your Wildcats or whether there may be someone on the court in which you want on a different team. I thank you for joining our broadcast here tonight, though I also implore you to come and watch a matchup in the Nicholson Pavilion, and maybe it's you that's wanting a change of scenery. Here's Tyler No with it. He's going to move it up for Long. Long now matched up with Kobe Parlin. He heads out left, and he's going to send it out direction for Thomas. Daniel Thomas now on the right side. Looked like he wanted Long again. Can't get it to him. Instead, it's No. No on the drive. Now over to Campbell. Campbell puts up the mid-range shot. No hands in his face, but he's unable to convert on that one. A lot of shots from Solomon Campbell here tonight. As Anderson moves it over to Williams. Williams now matched up, and he's going to kick it right back to him. Garrett Anderson on the drive, creating separation and missing the shot. Once again, just a good job by Solomon Campbell on the inside for the Gooey Ducks, just being a body. And now Kobe Parlin just very slyly avoids a reach-in foul there, but we will digress as here's Howie Long with it, Garrett Long. This one moved out right a couple of times, and now Solomon Campbell's going to take the mid-range shot from the wing. He knocks that down, and they cuts the lead back down to 9. Now here's Eli Williams. Let's see what he's got as he matches up against the Gooey Ducks. He'll move it over to Garrett Anderson to start off the drive. Anderson now inside for Brizzy. Brizzy back out Harris. Jamari Harris back out Parlin. Parlin inside for Anderson and gets it to go. Folks, we talked about looking for that next pass. The Wildcats starting to exemplify that a little bit more with every drive. As now here is Thomas. He's going to step out of bounds, and the Wildcats will take possession. So always a good job there to see your Wildcat defenders get in someone's face right there on the line. You can credit Garrett Anderson on that one, as now it's going to be Jordan Clark entering the matchup in the place of Eli Williams. 43-32 your score. 11 points separate the Wildcats from the Gooey Ducks as Jordan Clark brings it up and across half court. He's got a double team seemingly in front of him as he's going to head out right, drag a man with him, now head back out left. He cuts it down to one man, now it's to Harris. Harris now to Anderson. Anderson on the move, and it's Mitch Brizzy with almost a volleyball spike of sorts to pop it out. The Wildcats unable to get the unfortunately, the Wildcats unable to get the offensive rebound, as this one's going to be tossed out of bounds by the Gooey Ducks, and your Wildcats will take over possession once more. They've got a minute and a half to work with here with a comfortable 11-point lead. Here's Jordan Clark working his way forward. Now takes a step to the side, uses the screen from Brizzy, and it's a good one. Now the three is put up and knocked down. Jordan Clark, a three-point maestro. 18 points for him on the night so far. Now the Wildcats leading by 14 points as No going to scroll out left and drive. 3 men there, and a foul's going to be called. That one rightfully so. It will go against Kobe Parlin. So Parlin's going to pick up his second foul of the night as the Wildcats will put the Gooey Ducks into the bonus. Both teams, 7 fouls to their total so far. Shooting the free throws here tonight for the Gooey Ducks is going to be number 3, Tyler No. No has shot 80% from the charity stripe so far on the season, so we'll see how he's able to affect to those numbers as he's got the 1-and-1 try here. About a $1.05 remaining in the first half of action between these two squads as No puts up the first free throw, and that one will fall. He's got a second opportunity coming for him now as he looks to help out that 80% number we talked about just a moment ago. The Wildcats have done a good job of keeping fouls to a minimal this year, though, of course, we have seen a couple of instances where that might not exactly be the case. And some confusion on the court here as the Wildcats now with the ball in hand. The Gooey Duck coach not so happy with that one. That is Cameron Swanson, second-year coach for the Gooey Ducks and for Evergreen State. One way or another, the Wildcats have the ball again. So I'm not going to complain, and hopefully you guys don't either. Jordan Clark with the ball in hand. He's matched up with Tyler No as he moves it out right for Holden. Holden now, he's going to use the screen from Calvin Sisk. Now heads out left with it for Anderson. Anderson to the big man inside. Sisk back out for Clark. Clark looking for something, and it's Anderson. Anderson on the drive. Through a lot of contact, he puts up the shot, and that one is off. We'll see if it's going to be we'll see what the foul is here. And it's not going to be the charge, so just like that, it will be Corey Bridges picking up the foul. Of course, he's been pretty good shooting the three and shooting in general for the Gooey Ducks. The big man can definitely huck a couple up every once in a while when he is needed. But it will be Garrett Anderson shooting the free throws here. Garrett Anderson, the top scorer for the Cats so far on the year, shooting .830 from the line. He is going to knock down the first one. And with that, the Wildcat lead is pushed to 15. Garrett Anderson with 8 points to his total tonight. We'll see if he's able to get 9, and he will. That one falls in, and just like that, the Wildcats push it out a little bit further. Tyler No, the ball handler for the Gooey Ducks. He drives up against Jordan Clark. Now heading out left with it. Trying to swing inside, and he will successfully. So Tyler No gets that one to go, and just like that, the Gooey Ducks are 2 points closer. Jordan Clark with it, moving himself up. 18 points to his total on the night, and he really won't have to do anything here if he doesn't want to. Of course, the Wildcats will look to take that final shot of the half. 12 seconds, about 10 now remaining. And with a 14-point lead, you really can't blame him. Here's Jordan Clark heading out right with it. Now on the drive, he puts up the shot, and he's unable to get it to go. Sisk pops it out, and now with less than a second to go, a shot's put up, a shot is missed, and that's going to do it for the first half of action here from the Nicholson Pavilion. 48-34 your score, and what a matchup we've seen so far. Let's talk about it a little bit here, folks. Ryan Gildersleeve, your commentator on the night, and your Wildcats came into this one maybe a little bit slow off the very start, but they were able to correct that quickly. After about that first or second timeout break, the Wildcats really looking cohesive as a unit here tonight, and that's something that we've been emphasizing on the broadcast here. Of course, you're going to see it every single year as a new team comes out. You've got new players, guys that have transferred in, guys that just haven't quite found their footing in the Wildcat system yet. And now, what we've seen so far on the year is the slow roll to the point where we don't have any of those players on the team anymore, and we're getting there. Believe me, folks, we are getting there. This is a Wildcat team that looks more cohesive by the night. If you watch that Western game, that's a good example of it. Of course, tonight, it's a little bit different a feel. It's an exhibition matchup. You're not playing the big rival in the Great Northwest Athletic Conference, but one big thing to keep in mind is that this is a team that just needs more time on the court together, as most are going to end up needing. They're going to move the ball around a bit better with every game that we're seeing, and you can see that tonight. It's on display, that's for certain. Your Wildcats leading at 48-34. You don't get a 14-point lead for nothing. Now, of course, a lot of that effort has come from Jordan Clark knocking down 6 3-pointers tonight. You really can't take anything away from him there. We talked about him putting up 20 in that last matchup. He's 2 points away from that already, and we just ended the first half of action. So a chance for him to really go out and make a name for himself. It's been interesting to watch the stat sheet so far this season for the Wildcats. And of course, as you're watching every game, it's not necessarily something you have to do, if you will, if you're just a Wildcat fan. Though with a team that's playing at a 6-3 level, 2-0, undefeated on the conference, you kind of get curious. So as we've seen so far, Garrett Anderson has led the Wildcats all year in scoring. That hasn't changed up until this point. Now, 0.1 points behind him in terms of his average on the year is Kevin Holden. Holden, in the last 2 matchups, has put up at least 20 points for the Wildcats and has really just started to take over the reins as that number 1 guy. Of course, he is your primary ball handler. He's the guy that's coming across half court for you every single time. But what he's also doing is he's starting to evolve a little bit in terms of what it is that he does. And let me tell you, folks, let me make a comparison here, and it might be a little bit bull-faced if that's the way that you want to look at it. But one way or another, I feel like Kevin Holden is starting to take on more of a Russell Westbrook kind of role for this team. He's everywhere. If you want to look at rebounds, he's up there. He's one of our top 3 rebounders on the team. Not only that, but of course he's been one of the top 2 scorers. He's been the top scorer over the last little while, and he's starting to kind of come into his own as that guy that's going to move the ball everywhere that you need it to be. Of course, he's a point guard. That's what you're going to expect out of him. Great defense on the perimeter, great passing. And he's been able to show both of those off. Now, I just don't know if the passing is at the point that you'd think it would be as a primary guard. But what is there is his scoring ability. What is there is his ability to crash the boards. I don't think there's another guard in the GNAC at the same size and the same capabilities as Kevin Holden that's able to crash the boards the way that he is. Now, let's not waste too much time talking about what the season has been so far. Let's talk a little bit more about what we've seen here tonight, because there have been a lot of storylines riding into this one. Of course, in that last matchup, you saw a slow start and a slow finish for Maverick Sanders, someone who in the matchup just prior was so important for the Wildcats. Now, tonight, he sort of started to move back into his own. He's hit a couple of shots. Now, what he's got to keep in mind is the fouls. I mean, obviously, you're working in the painted area. You're going to have a lot of contact. Your body's going to take a lot of blows, and it has so far. That is not a trope. That is just a stereotype. You're going to see that. Now, we've seen Calvin Sisk have to fight through some physicality in order to get to the basket himself. Brizzy, of course, he welcomes that. He's trying to buy it, basically, every time that he's got the ball in his hand. But, just feed that inside. Give these guys the chance to strengthen up a little bit. And while it might not be a toughen up situation, you got to get those hits in. You have to take a couple shoulder bumps. You have to drive your shoulder into someone's chest a few times before you knock that rust off and everything is perfect and you're running just fine. Now, let me tell you, folks, this Wildcat team is one that's going to be able to produce in just about any situation that you put them in, as we've seen. Of course, started off the matchup not doing well against the Gooey Ducks here tonight, but they were able to grab the reins, pull them back in, and get back into the driver's seat the way that this Wildcat team should be and the way that they've been playing for the majority of the season. Now, folks, we'll look to the second half to see if the Gooey Ducks are able to put anything together and maybe make this a little bit more interesting a matchup. One way or another, I, Ryan Gildersleeve, will be with you in just about 10 minutes as we begin the second half of action. For now, enjoy a little bit of music if you're on 88.1 The Berg, and if you're not, don't leave your seat because we will be back on the CW Athletics live stream in just a moment. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the action here tonight from the Nicholson Pavilion. Folks, what a game we have seen so far. Your current score, 48-34. The Wildcats leading it by quite a lot. 14 points is nothing to be understated for either of these two teams, as I'm sure Evergreen State would love to be in the same position. Of course, tonight has been an intriguing one for both the Geoducks and your Wildcats, as what they've been able to do, these two teams together, is they've been able to put on a very interesting matchup. I mean, a lot of the same philosophy has been shown off by both teams. They're both started going through the same motions, and really, neither of them playing losing basketball, if that's the way that you want to look at it. What they're both doing is they're doing a good job of complementing each other. Central Washington is just better right now, at least, at adjusting to what they're seeing. The Geoducks were shooting a whole lot of threes to start off what would have been that first quarter of action, that first 10 minutes between the two teams. They were shooting a lot of threes. They were hitting a lot of threes. They were going through the motions on the perimeter that you would want if you're going to come in and you're going to put up a lot of instant offense against a team like Central Washington. The problem, like I previously mentioned, is that the Wildcats know how to adapt to that. They know how to send guys at you that are going to be able to do more than just shoot and more than just guard the perimeter. Now, I don't think either one of these two teams you can really take anything away from as far as the perimeter game goes. I think that Jordan Clark has shown that just himself, really, for the Wildcat side of things, But, yeah, no, I mean, every time that he's taken a stroke from deep, there has been nothing keeping him from the basket. I mean, that is shown by the fact that he's hit 6 3-pointers tonight so far. The Wildcats, they came into their matchup against Western Washington on Saturday, the leading team in the GNAC in terms of three-point percentage. At this point, I believe they lie at 4th. So that game did do quite a toll in terms of the statistical prowess of the Cats, but this is a team that can shoot that three ball, and this is a team I expect to shoot a lot of them in this quarter, in this half, as Jordan Clark's going to come up with a steal on that one, and Maverick Sanders is going to hit a shot, get an and one opportunity on that one. Foul's going to go against the Geoducks, of course, and they're going to put it to the total of Jordan Joseph. Joseph, of course, the top scorer for Evergreen State. He's been impressive, to say the least, here tonight. Really able to shoot it from anywhere. A real pick-and-pop guy, it appears, as Maverick Sanders puts up the free throw and knocks it down. So just like that, his first point of the second half, and the Wildcats lead it by 17. Now bringing it up for the Geoducks is Graham. Graham working against Maverick Sanders here. A bit of a mismatch. He'll put up the long ball, and this one is off. Rebound, though, does go to the Geoducks as Long is able to bring it in. Now Thomas for the three. Thomas drains it. So maybe a little bit more of what we saw in that first half from the Geoducks, as they do a good job finding the open man, getting him a three-point try, and him, of course, converting. Now here's Anderson moving it over to Clark. Clark coming up on that right side. He's going to go back inside for Anderson, who's got all the space in the world. Tries to go to Brizzy. Brizzy's going to save it for Maverick Sanders in the corner, but that one is off. Rebound's going to go to Joseph. On the drive, he'll head out left with it. He's going to look like he wants the three. Instead, he goes inside for Solomon Campbell, and now this one's lost. It's going to get picked up by Garrett Anderson. Anderson to Sanders. Sanders on the drive, and he's going to get that one in. So a little bit of finesse from Maverick Sanders there. Knows where to position himself to get the two, and he will. So hit 9 points for him on the night so far. He was a very interesting player to look at coming into this matchup. Of course, having his own tribulations in that Western game, but coming back strong here tonight. Now inside is Long, and he's going to get blocked by Sanders. So Maverick Sanders takes the ball over for the Cats, moves it to Clark for three, and he's unable to knock that one down. So the rebound goes to Joseph. He's going to drive up, got a couple of Cats in front of him, passes out to the perimeter, and a three-point shot is put up wide open by Bradley Graham. You cannot discount him on that one. He knocks it down, and they're actually only going to give him the two on that, it appears. So a 14-point lead for the Cats. Here's Holden going to give it to Anderson. Anderson now inside. He's going to try for Clark. Clark puts it up and misses, but is fouled. So just like that, he's going to get a chance at the line. And he's got a chance to push his scoring total on the night up to 20 points. Foul there is going to be called against Solomon Campbell. Campbell's first on the night so far, as that's the second of the half by the Geoducks. They're going to want to keep that tally down if they want to avoid some unnecessary prowess for the Wildcats at the line. I mean, they've just been incredible from the charity stripe so far this year. Shooting .750 as a team coming into this matchup, I can tell you confidently that that's shifted quite a bit as we've moved on. But Jordan Clark now, opportunity for the second time at the charity stripe. He's going to knock that one down, and just like that, I mean, what can I say? The Wildcats just a great job at the charity stripe. If you're giving them a free opportunity to do something, they're going to take it every day of the week. Now bringing it up is Graham. He's going to work against Jordan Clark here. Coming up that left side. Now he's going to stop, move out right, put up the mid-range in front of Mitch Brizzi. That one's off, and a foul is going to be called. This one appears as though it'll go against Jordan Clark, as he did catch a bit of the hand of Solomon Campbell on that one. Sometimes just a little bit difficult to stay in your lane when you're in that painted area, going for the jump. I mean, it's always that ball handler's advantage. They've got that ball, and when they come inside, if they feel any contact going up, then there's going to be a fist thrown up by the boys in stripes. Now, with that being said, Jordan Clark going to check out. In his place will be Eli Williams. 17:47 remaining in the second half of action. So just about a minute and 2 minutes and 10 seconds, a clip so far in this matchup, as that one's going to be knocked down by Solomon Campbell, and here's Williams bringing it up for the Cats. Some distanced defense on the perimeter there, but they won't take advantage of it, as now Mitch Brizzi with it, working against Campbell, finds some separation, and they're going to call the foul, so a little bit of contact going up on the left arm of Mitch Brizzi. It'll go against Solomon Campbell. Campbell picks up his second foul of the half. That's the third of the half for his team. And just like that, it'll send Mitch Brizzi to the line. Mitch Brizzi, of course, so far on the season has been shooting at a 7-14 clip from the charity stripe. He'll knock down the first one, and he'll get a second opportunity there. This could be his fourth point on the night if he is successful. Getting ready for this one now. Up it goes, and it'll fall. So Mitch Brizzi going to knock down both free throws there in that opportunity. And just like that, the Gooey Ducks will attempt to get a couple of points back on this drive, as here is Graham moving out left. He's got Maverick Sanders in front of him. Pitches back out for Jordan Joseph. Joseph, a tough situation here for him tonight as he's matched up against Kevin Holden. He's going to drive, though, and he's going to miss the layup. So a whole lot of skill there. As here's the steal. Joseph going to steal it, and Graham is going to miss the layup, but coming in for the second chance and knocking it down is Garrett Long. A timeout's going to be called by the Wildcats. We'll take one, too. Be back in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. .88 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Welcome back to the action, folks. You are hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve, your broadcaster throughout all of winter break for your Wildcats, as here's Mitch Brizzi with the ball in hand on the perimeter. Looked like he wanted Parlin. Instead, he's going to go to Eli Williams. Williams using the screen from Brizzi, and a foul is going to be called. This one will go against Brizzi. Looks like he didn't get the feet set properly on that screen, and so that'll be the second of the half against the Cats. 3, of course, to their opponent's total. So still winning in that battle, but going to need to be a little bit restrained as you move closer to what would have been that fourth quarter. And now, so Jordan Joseph takes the inbound, and he'll work against Parlin. Coming across that big old half-court logo of the Wildcats. He's going to move out left with it. He's going to go pass over to Daniel Thomas. Thomas matched up with Anderson. He'll pitch back out left for Graham. Graham trying to get the jab step on Williams. It's not going to work. He stays in front of him. Now this one's going to be tossed out of bounds, and it looks like it'll actually stay inside. Maverick Sanders with it in his hand on the drive. He gets it over to Anderson. Anderson takes the step, gets some separation. Foul's going to be called, and so he'll have 2 coming his way. Garrett Anderson so far on the night, 9 points to his total. Of course, he has been the leading scorer for the Cats so far this season, averaging about 14. Though an interesting race to keep in mind there, himself and Kevin Holden vying for that position, as Kevin Holden only trails him by one of a point. So very close are those two, as Garrett Anderson going to get ready for the free throw here. Knocks it down. And he's been good from there so far this year, 83% coming into this matchup. Of course, that tally did go up a little bit right there, as Thomas is going to check out of the game, and in his place will be Corey Bridges. And Bridges, wearing number 44 for the Gooey Ducks, he has shown some ability to knock down the long-range shot, so don't discount him from the perimeter, as now the second charity stripe opportunity is going to be cashed in by Garrett Anderson. He's going to continue upon his lucky streak at the charity stripe. And here's Graham with it, moving across half court. Gets a good screen from Williams there. And now trying to fight for any sort of separation is Long. And it'll be Jordan Joseph with it now. Joseph moving out left with it, using that screen once more from Corey Bridges. Now on the drive is Joseph. He'll put it up, and that one is off. Finds its way out of bounds, and it'll stay in possession of the Gooey Ducks of Evergreen State. But what a matchup it's been so far on the night. Something that you got to admit here, watching Jordan Joseph, is that if you've seen his other matchups, he's someone who typically converts on those fancy layups that he goes for. He's got a cool layup package, though typically a bit more successful than he has been here tonight, as Solomon Campbell going to put one up over Mitch Barizzi and knock it down. Williams now on the drive. He moves it over to Sanders. Sanders, he's going to go back out right for Anderson. Wide open 3-ball. He's going to knock that one down every day of the week. So just like that, they're going to hand 3 points over to the top scorer of the Cats, now at 14. That would keep him in line with his season averages, though I can't imagine that he's quite done here tonight. Jordan Joseph on the drive, working against Parlin. He's going to throw that head back and draw the foul in the best way possible, and you really can't take that away from him. I mean, there are some skills that are very easy to see on different players. There are some skills that obviously are developed over time, and then there are some things that are just intangible truths. Some guys are a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable with the contact, and they're going to pull fouls in a way that you're not going to see with others. Let me tell you, folks, I mean, throughout my own career playing basketball, I've seen some guys that definitely know how to get inside and take some contact better than others. Now, of course, as you watch these different games, you're going to know which players on each team really do seek that out. I mean, if I was to highlight a player for your Wildcats, I'd have to say it's Mitch Barizzi. Every time that you see that man get the ball on the inside, he's throwing shoulders like he's throwing shoulders. That's all I can tell you. I'd give you a comparison there, but I'm not sure what I could say that's being thrown that would necessarily be great. Now, with that being said, folks, of course, we are in the midst of a timeout here, and your Wildcats lead it by 17. What a matchup that has been tonight. I mean, of course, for most of us, you kind of had to expect a result similar to this coming into the matchup. Of course, with these exhibition games, your Wildcats just hold an advantage no matter what, and bringing it into the Nicholson Pavilion is a whole other level of that. 6-3 on the season, 2-0 in conference play. Of course, both of those conference matchups have been played right here, but folks, the whistle will blow, and we'll go ahead and kick it back to the court here. 62-45, as previously mentioned, is your score, and we thank each and every one of you for tuning into this matchup. Of course, over these winter break games, your Wildcats playing in 3 separate exhibitions. It is going to be a fun week and a half for the Cats, as then they, of course, go and move into holiday festivities, and then we come back on January 4th will be the first game of the new year. The Wildcats will then play on the 9th and the 11th of January. But, of course, you can navigate over to wildcatsports.com, check out the composite schedule, which will show you all of that, or you can go straight to the Cats team page. And now, with the action back in resumed, it's Kobe Parlin with the ball in hands. He'll move it out right for Williams. Williams now looks like he's going to kick it back out to him, and he will. Parlin takes the 3. That one's off. Rebound goes to Maverick Sanders, and now it's going to find its way into the hands of Williams. Williams to Parlin in the corner on the drive, and he's going to jam that one down. Going up and using the left hand is Kobe Parlin. Parlin, of course, made his name known a little bit better in that last matchup, shooting from behind the arc. Of course, a corner shooter he is. Now a long-range three going to be put up, and a foul committed by Parlin. So maybe something to keep in mind for Kobe Parlin's game in specific. He's someone who doesn't necessarily know when not to draw contact. Nothing against his game as a player, though maybe sometimes a little bit aggressive for his own liking. It appears he'll check out, and Jordan Clark will check in, though on the other end, it is the first of three knocked down by Jordan Joseph. But yeah, it's been an interesting season for the Wildcats so far. You're starting to see some of these names come in and show off in a way different than they have throughout other years. Of course, Mitch Brizzi kind of sliding into that starting five spot is one of the more notable. Of course, Kevin Holden being the number one option for the ball in hand. Though you can't necessarily say that you've seen that so much here tonight. Jordan Clark, who currently has the ball in his hand, has been the primary ball handler for the Wildcats throughout each and every moment that we've seen him on the court. He's going to move this one out left for Garrett Anderson. It's going to go back to him. Of course, Clark with 6 3-pointers to his total tonight. He'll put up the mid-range and miss it, and unable to get his own rebound. Now here are the Gooey Ducks. Graham goes up and gets it to go. Cuts the lead down to 12 for the Wildcats, who have lost a little bit of footing. Not considerable amount, but a little bit of footing since the beginning of the half. Just about 6 minutes eclipsed as the Wildcats lose the ball on that drive. Now here's here's Joseph on the drive. And once again, let me tell you, folks, what did I say before? This is just an ability to draw fouls like not many that you're able to see. Will the contact always be equivalent to what you see? Maybe not, as Mitch Brizzi is going to check out, as well as Garrett Anderson, Calvin Sisk, and Kevin Holden check in their place. Also, Jamari Harris comes in for Maverick Sanders. But as I was saying, some of these things are just intangibles. They're things that these guys know and things that are built into them. Whether they think about it or not, whether it's a conscious movement or not, you just never know. But one thing that we can say is that Jordan Joseph is one of those guys. He knows how to draw some contact. As the rebound is going to fall into the hands of Corey Bridges, he's going to try and wing this one cross court. Not going to work for him. It's intercepted by Holden. Holden now to Williams. Williams on the drive, takes a smart stop, kicks it out for Holden, takes a wide open three and knocks it down. So Kevin Holden's 5th points on the night so far. And here is Graham on the move. Working against Eli Williams. Uses the screen from Bridges. Now puts up the floater and gets it to go. Textbook floater there by Graham. And now here's Eli Williams. On the move, he pitches inside for Calvin Sisk. The big 7-footer puts up the shot, and he's unable to get it to land. Rebound goes to the Gooey Ducks, and here's Jordan Joseph on the perimeter. He's signaling for a couple of men to move. Now on the drive, he takes a step back, working against Holden. Almost Wolverine-like movements from Joseph on the perimeter here tonight, trying to find separation. Now they get it to Corey Bridges, who will miss a wide-open three, and that has not been in his nature from what we've seen on the night so far. But the Wildcats make a mistake there, as it will be number 32, Jamari Harris, committing a foul there. The Wildcats' 6th of the half. They have definitely lost some footing in that regard. Now only one foul away from putting their opponents into the bonus. And we are not even to what would have been the 4th quarter of action quite yet. Free throw put up and missed this one to Zach Jefferson. He'll have one more opportunity coming his way. About 12 minutes, 51 seconds remain in this matchup between the Wildcats and the Gooey Ducks. And here's the second shot. This one's put up and knocked it down. So Jefferson is able to get it to go. And now here's Williams with the ball in hand, moving across that big old half-court logo of the Cats. Now moving out left. Works it inside. This one to Holden. Holden now over to Jamari Harris, and he gets that one to go. So Harris with a couple more points to his total. And now here is Jordan Joseph working his way forward. Working against Holden here. Takes the step back. Now passes over to the left side. This one to Long. Long against Williams, or excuse me, Clark there. Passes out, and this shot's going to be put up and knocked down by number 44, Corey Bridges. The foul is going to go, of course, against the Wildcats, but more specifically against Calvin Sisk. Sisk looks like he will exit the game here, and it'll be Maverick Sanders coming in his place. So the Wildcats put the Gooey Ducks into the bonus with that one. And it'll be Corey Bridges looking to take advantage as he shoots from the free throw line. First one is knocked down. Only one is knocked down. And Jamari Harris inbounds to Jordan Clark. Clark now coming across half court. In front of him, he's got Graham. Moving out right with it. He hands it off for Williams. Williams now moving back out left. He's at the top of the key. He goes to Kevin Holden. Holden back out for Williams. Williams driving inside. He's got Holden open there. Instead, he goes to Clark. Clark in the mid-range goes back out for Holden. Holden getting a screen from Williams here. They're not going to use it, though. Instead, Jordan Clark will drive, and he'll get his 22nd points of the night on an easy layup. Now here's Jordan Joseph bringing it up for the Gooey Ducks. We'll see if the Wildcats are able to remain conservative with their hand placement, if you will. Keep a couple fouls off the board, as you'd have to imagine that that's what Evergreen State is targeting here, is a whole lot of fouls. Keep that clock from moving, as here's Jamari Harris on the steal. Now he's going to lose it, and they're going to call a foul against Jordan Joseph. So just like that, it's Joseph's fourth on the night so far. The Wildcats creep one foul closer to the bonus. They're going to take a timeout on the court, so we'll take one too. Be back with you in just a moment here on 88.1 The Berg, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. Ryan Gildersleeve here, your play-by-play and color commentator for all of your winter break matchups. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are starting to grow strained of this voice, I will say you've got a tough situation for the next few games, as Maverick Sanders is going to step in and immediately knock down a mid-range shot, continuing to have a good night for himself, rebounding from what was a less than great performance against Western Washington. 11 points to his totals so far, as he's going to keep a three-pointer from landing for Corey Bridges, who has been also impressive for the Gooey Ducks on the exterior. Here's Kevin Holden on the other end. He's going to put up a three, but that one missed. Rebound goes to Zach Jefferson. Jefferson now working against Kamari Harris. He's going to move this one out left for No. Here's Tyler. No, and this one's going to be plucked by Kevin Holden. Holden on the drive, goes up, and he's unable to throw it down. He's rejected by the rim on that one. Not what you want to see if you're Kevin Holden, but we saw the vision there, as he's now going to get another steal to his total. Try it again, and it's an alley-oop jam by Kamari Harris. What a play on that one! Reminds me of some old school Brock Gilbert to Samad Hector type connections. But one way or another, we'll leave that to the historians. Here's Long with it. He's going to move out left, hand this one off for Graham. Graham now moving it back out right for Jefferson. Jefferson driving forward on that right side, puts up the mid-range, and it looks like Maverick Sanders got a hand on it. He'll keep that one from going anywhere, as now Holden to Sanders. Sanders stops, pitches out for Eli Williams. Williams back out Sanders. Looked like he wanted it. He wouldn't take it. He'll drive forward and get it to go. Also drawing the and one opportunity. So Maverick Sanders now with a chance to push his scoring total on the night to 14 with the free throw. They're going to call the foul against Zach Jefferson, and a substitution on the court as Solomon Campbell enters the game in the place of Corey Bridges. So Sanders so far on the year shooting about 65% coming into this game from the free throw line. First one put up, and that one's knocked down. So he'll convert on the and one, and just like that, the Wildcats push their total forward just a little bit more there. 14 points for Sanders on the night, 78 for the Wildcats. They lead it by 20. Jefferson back out left for Long. He'll pass for the corner, but moving out just a bit too quickly is going to be Bradley Graham. And so the Wildcats retake possession. Eli Williams will be the inbounder for the Cats here. And it appears he'll pitch it forward to Kevin Holden. Holden now coming up that left side. He's going to have Williams to his left, Clark to his right. That's going to swap as now he tosses it up for Kamari Harris. Almost looked like he was trying to get the man to posterize somebody, but he's just unable to catch it in the proper stride, though 2 points will go to his total. So 13 for Kamari Harris here tonight. It's really been a nice matchup to watch his game as he's been everywhere for the Wildcats. Now moving it out left, and it'll be in the hands of Jefferson. Jefferson working against Kamari Harris, who has had his name mentioned so many times here, is Tyler No now on the drive. He's going to pitch it back to Jefferson, and it's a good bit of playmaking there. I'm not sure if that was something Jefferson called for or if it was more of just a movement thing, but one way or another, they adjusted well. As now Harris inside to Clark. Clark's going to draw the foul before Solomon Campbell's able to send that one back out. Man, he had just baptized that ball. Lucky that it did not end up counting. So one way or another, the foul will go against the opposition, and now the Wildcats in the bonus, as both teams are. 8:49 remain in this matchup. 80-60 your score. Jordan Clark looks to change that. First shot from Clark will fall. Jordan Clark so far on the year, a 91% free throw shooter. He hits the first one. Of course, that mark is entering this matchup, so unaware as to how that one would have adjusted his statistical prowess, if you will, from the charity stripe, as he's going to knock down the second one. So 1,000% on that trip to the line for Jordan Clark, and here come the Gooey Ducks. It'll be Bradley Graham matched up with Eli Williams here. Moving his way forward, screen coming from Campbell. He's going to use it, but it's not going to amount to a whole lot. Now here's Nick Gutierrez trying to move it inside for Campbell. The Wildcats will retake it. Now here's Sanders, goes up and over for Holden. Holden loses his man, steps back, takes the three, and he's unable to knock it down. Sanders tried to pop it back up and in, but he was unsuccessful. So some fireworks for the Cats, but unfortunately, they're just unable to pull a whole lot from it. Now here's Eli Williams in transition, gets it to Harris, and that is Jamari Harris's 15th points of the night. How impressive has he been for the Wildcats as Parlin looks as though he gets ready to check in for the Cats. On the other end, here's Jefferson with it. On the drive, he pitches back out, once again intended for Campbell, and once again it's Williams on the fast break. He'll move it to Holden. Holden back to Williams. Fights through contact and gets 2 points. So that's Eli Williams' 4th points on the night so far. The Wildcats lead it by 26. Here's Tyler No using the screen from Campbell. Now driving against Maverick Sanders, and that's not the man to try in the painted area. Sanders sends it back. Now Holden to Clark for three. Unable to hit. Sanders, though, saves it for a moment, though the Gooey Ducks will pull it in. Now Tyler No stops, and that's a travel against Tyler No. So just like that, the Cats bring it in once more, still leading by 26 now with only 7 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the matchup. We'll see what they're able to do coming out of the timeout, but we're going to take one as they do, and we'll be back as soon as they do, just about 30 seconds here on 88.1 The Berg, your music central, as well as the CW Athletics live stream. 88 won the Berg, your Music Central, as well as the Central Washington University Athletics live stream. You were hearing the voice of Ryan Gildersleeve as, folks, we get ready to continue what has been a great first matchup for your Wildcats going on through our winter break series, if that's the way that you would like to put it. The Wildcats will have matchups, of course, today, as well as the 16th and the 19th of the month. That, of course, being this coming Monday and Thursday. Folks, I will be with you for each and every one of those broadcasts, so I hope that that is welcomed, and thank you for welcoming me into whatever your listening space may be. Here's Jordan Clark moving it out left for Holden. Holden now over to Williams. Williams back out Holden. Holden takes a step, and now he'll find Williams once more. Eli Williams pitches it over, this one to Clark. Clark to the corner with Sanders, who knocks it down and draws the foul. So Maverick Sanders, an and one try. That'll give him an opportunity for his 17th point of, or excuse me, it should give him an opportunity for his 18th point of the matchup. As what a game it's been so far. Sanders is going to put it up, and Sanders is going to knock it down. So I was a little bit close on that one. 18 points now for Maverick Sanders. And here's Tyler No on the drive. He puts it up, and he knocks it down. Tyler No doing a little bit for himself on that one. His 4th points of the matchup. As here's Kevin Holden. Holden moves it over to Clark. Clark to Sanders. Sanders now heading back out right with it. He's going to go inside for Clark. Clark now inside for Holden. Holden back to Clark. Clark to the outside. Sanders to Holden. To Williams from the corner. And he's unable to knock that one down. A good try by the Wildcats, just unable to convert, as now here's Joseph to No. No on the drive. He stops, kicks back out for Jefferson, takes the shot, and that one is missed. Whistle did blow before the shot, and it will be the Wildcats taking possession of the basketball. Of course, both teams in the bonus already. Your Wildcats lead it by 28 points here. A commanding lead for the Wildcats, if you will. As now Holden is going to hand it off for Clark. Clark now back out Parlin. Parlin inside for Holden. Holden takes the step back, and it's Parlin once more. Kobe Parlin inside for Maverick Sanders. Looks like he's trying to find some separation. He finds it, and he gives it right over to Parlin, who will get a couple to his total here tonight. That gives him 4 points. As now here is Joseph with the ball in hand. Screen coming from Campbell. He doesn't use it. Instead goes straight for the layup. That one is off. Rebounded now by Kevin Holden, and here come the Cats. Holden in transition. A whole lot of contact, and they will give him the whistle. So Kevin Holden will head to the line with an opportunity to get his 6th and 7th points of the matchup. Kevin Holden so far on the year from the charity stripe shooting about 77%. Wildcats, after the first one, will make a substitution as Calvin Sisk as well as Xavier Kamalu Vargas will enter the game. This one's going to be knocked down by Holden, and coming out are going to be Maverick Sanders and Jordan Clark. So we'll see what we can see from these two here. Of course, some of the younger fellas on the squad. Kamalu Vargas was on the roster last year, but we didn't see much from him. Sisk, of course, is joining the Wildcats for the first time this year. Holden's going to knock down the second shot. That gives him his 7th on the night so far. And here's Tyler No bringing it back up for the Gooey Ducks. He's going to attempt to hand this one off, but it's taken this time by Williams. He gets up and throws that one down. A couple of games ago, had a very electric dunk. It was the last score of the game for the Wildcats against Simon Frazier. So he did a great job to really come out there and make himself seen. Tonight, he's going to take advantage of the exhibition, maybe a few more looks his way. He scores 20 points. So big shout out to Jamari Harris there. He did a great job of wrapping up the game and just making himself seen throughout this matchup, which is what you want to see from any of the young Bucks on this Wildcat team as these exhibition matchups move forward. Now, folks, as we look to the future, your Wildcats have 2 more matchups over what will be Central Washington University's winter break. Of course, they will play this Monday and this coming Thursday. So following those matchups, you won't see your Wildcat men's team again until January 4th. But I will be here for each of these matchups as we round out the 2024 half of the season. Thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, for the CW Athletics live stream. 88 won the Berg, and for myself, this is Ryan Gildersleeve signing out.